Welcome to the Middle Easy Fight Fist podcast. Welcome back, Fisters, as you're so lovely called. I'm here with my co-host, Luke Touma.
What's going on, everybody?
We are officially back after a long hiatus. Middle Easy changed ownership. We had to work some shit out, but we are back and better than ever. I am joined by UFC bantamweight, Mr. Jimmie Rivera. What's going on, Jimmy?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Thanks for
doing
doing the
well.
show, man.
Thanks for...
Anytime.
yeah, you are our first UFC fighter on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
there
is
you
a
go.
big
Popping
first
cherry.
get.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna. This is a strong intro. Everyone else is gonna have to step up their game.
Yeah, man. This is a good start.
Yeah, and you're also the first guest that we're recording the podcast not in our old Sound Guys college dorm room. We used to record this in the dorm room of NYU,
Yeah.
and now we are out. We have no studio.
Right now
so
we're at Tiger Schulman in Elmwood Park, New Jersey.
there we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's,
now we're a traveling podcast.
Yeah, it's doing all right. But
So-
you're coming off some big news, though, man. You just finalized the deal for...
Well, not completely finalized, but it's in the works. We're just finalizing some details to it. But to fight Marlon Moraes June 1st in Utica? You're from
Utica.
up- Utica. Yeah, I wanna
Beautiful
say
Utica, New York.
Yeah, there you go. Is it beautiful?
No. It's a lot like Binghamton.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah.
So we're going up in the hood.
Yeah, man. That's great, though, man.
Yeah.
And main event, right?
Yeah, main event. So it's
There
a
we
next
go.
step. It's definitely going to push and be like a number one contender fight. And I know they're trying to push Cody and TJ because that TJ and Demetrius Johnson fight's not happening anymore.
No?
Yep, probably. I think it was just probably money on Demetrius Johnson then. So
Yeah.
he's going to defend the belt, looks like, against Henry Cejudo. And they're trying to push Cody and TJ Dillashaw to fight.
To do a
Again.
rematch.
Yep.
Wow. Have they talked about when they're planning on doing that, or?
I don't know, but hopefully it's like around the same time because it works out great. You know, June, July.
Yeah. So where does this leave Cruz?
He's hurt, supposedly.
Yeah.
Like,
Is he still hurt?
yeah, he's hurt.
Because
supposedly.
it was 219 you were supposed to fight him, right?
He's supposed to fight in 219, and he got hurt. Spinning back fist, the kid he was training with, and broke his arm.
Yeah.
And I think he was, you know, he's not really in the picture. So he keeps saying he's hurt, and he's not really in the picture. They're kind of going to move on. And I think he's going to have to, no matter what, I think he's going to have to fight to get a shot.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a shot right away. He might, you know, have to fight maybe a Sansa or something like that if they ever put a Sansa in the picture. But
Yeah. I mean,
that was an
'cause-
interesting chain of events because it went from Cruz, then it went, was it Lineker?
Lineker.
And then
Lineker.
he got a toothache,
Yeah.
which was the craziest thing. I mean, I guess it was a bad toothache. I know
Yeah.
nothing about teeth, so. And then it went to
Marlon.
Marlon. And then is it true that Dodson popped into the picture? Because I know that all went.
Dawson popped in the picture, but it wasn't going to help me to get a title shot.
No,
You know what
it
I mean?
wouldn't have made
You know,
much
they
sense.
just he wanted it, and then he came a comment that someone sent me was that I don't know why Jimmie Rivera would want an easy fight. I'm like, why would
Yeah, he called himself an easy fight.
I was like, why? I think he's. I don't think he's. I think he's tough, but I
Yeah.
don't. It's a different style,
yeah.
and we just trained for a righty for 3 months, so that didn't make sense to take Dotson. It didn't make sense. He's on a losing streak. The guy's what, like last 5 fights, like 2-3 in the bantamweight division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just couldn't beat Johnson, so he had to come up to 35. I
Yeah.
just think with the luck of how it's going, I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch him next weekend, him and Pedro Munez, because I fought
Yeah.
Pedro, and he's a tough guy, so it's going to be interesting to fight, see what happened.
Have you ever, since you're fighting, have you ever trained with Marlon? Because he's also local to this
I
area.
trained with Marlon years back before the Faber fight, and that was
so
the
when
last
he was
time.
still World Series of Fighting? Or
Yeah, World Series fight. It was really, actually, I was training with Frankie, and after a while, they kind of took Frankie out to spar me and put in Marlon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
So
said-
you've actually, does that happen a lot, guys fight guys that they've sparred with?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
Are you and Marlon cool, or is there a little beef?
I don't think he likes me. I don't think he likes me because I think when he came into the UFC, and I couldn't figure out why, but my wife reminded me, and that's why I guess you have wives. They remind you all the time.
Yeah.
They always remember shit. I just said he came in, and I thought it was bullshit because I held 3 belts in 3 different organizations and won them, defend them, and then left that organization to go fight someone that was just better, that would help me get in the UFC.
Yeah.
So he came in and got a top 5 guy right away. I was like, this is bullshit. I had to work my way up the fucking ladder.
I
This
do remember
guy's
he
getting-
did come in and get top 5 right off the bat.
Yeah, he got a Sansa right off the back.
Yeah.
They lost to Sansa, then got Dotson, and that was a close fight. I guess it could have went either way. And then he won that fight. Actually, yeah, he won that fight, and then he knocked out Sterling trying to go for
maybe a little animosity leading up to this Utica fight, or
I think there's a lot of animosity, but it's not really against him. It's against his manager. His manager's a douchebag. Call my wife a bitch.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
how'd that happen?
I was going to get my fighter kit because I didn't bring a lot of clothes when I was in Vegas. Because when I found out about Lineker being hurt, I was already at the airport.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, maybe we'll get a replacement. Let's just
So you
go
went.
there.
You did go to Vegas.
I was in Vegas the whole
Yeah.
week. Yeah, I was in Vegas for New Year's, and I had friends already there, family already coming. You know, I have friends and family coming. I'm like, I'm not gonna just go home. Like, I got there when the fight was off Christmas night. When we find out finally after 36, 40 hours trying to figure out what's gonna happen, I wasn't gonna just go home and let my friends and family go there and just be like, yeah, I'm home now.
Yeah.
I said, all right, we'll just stick it out and hang out. So we went to get my fighter kit. And as I was walking, I saw him in the corner of my eye, and I just kept walking. And I didn't even give him, like, a look either. He was like, yeah, that's right, you keep walking. He said it loud enough so I could hear it. I turned around like, motherfucker, what are you saying? I'm like, and then he started yelling all this stuff. I'm like, come on, you want to go, you go. Like, and that was after the fact he called my wife a bitch. Because my wife sometimes doesn't know that she should just let me handle it. She'll jump right
That's
in.
such a typical girlfriend wife.
But she's a badass. She's like from the countryside, from PA, so she's a better shot than me. Someone comes in our house, the revolver. My Springfield's not gonna do anything. The revolver, she's gonna fuck that dude up that comes in because she's a good shot. Like, our first date was literally we went to the range and got Italian food. And she fucking killed me at the range. I was like, "Damn, you!" I thought she was good, but she was really good. Like, she killed the deer. She killed
Jersey first date ever.
She killed the deer at 10. She killed other animals before that, but the
Yeah.
biggest thing she killed when she was a kid was a deer at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then her
I
dad.
went to a gun range one time, and after I shot, my only thought was, I need to marry a woman who's a good shot. I stand no chance when the world ends.
I know,
I'm
zombie
such a
apocalypse or
spasm.
something.
Totally.
Yeah.
So your wife started talking shit to him a little, and then
Yeah, but she wasn't even that bad. She was just saying that they're so unprofessional as a man. Because he's a fucking manager. Like, you don't go
She's not
talking
wrong.
shit on Twitter. Like, you're a manager. Like,
I wish comedy managers
no
did that
managers do that.
sometimes.
He's the only manager to do that. And he tries to be, I care about my fighters. I'm like, your fighters have their own mouth. They could defend them
Well,
fucking
in his
themselves.
defense, Marlon's voice is terrible. So he should. He should. You don't want to. Marlon calling your wife a bitch would just be. It's bitch. It's so squeaky. It throws me off every time I see an interview with him because I don't expect it, and then I watch it and I laugh every time.
So this fight with Marley, you're kind of going to be like picturing kicking his manager's ass
Oh
instead
my
of his.
god, I'm gonna train hard. I mean, this is a number one contender fight, so the next fight it's like a title shot, and I'm gonna train my ass off. I'm excited for the fight. I'm excited even more that it's like to be a number one contender spot, and it's a main event. I'm super excited to actually finally main a UFC card.
This is your first main event.
Yeah, so it's a big
That's
step.
awesome.
It's a big step. Thank you.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
And I hope Marlon, I got pulled, fighters dropped 3 times last year, so Marlon has a good track record, so I'm hoping he doesn't pull out. It should be good.
Yeah, especially coming off his last fight, that was a brutal knockout.
Yeah. Sterling just kind of gave his head, and that was it.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Because if you look, Marlon was going for the switch kick, and
He was going for the high switch kick,
Yeah.
and Sterling was trying to go for a takedown. And as you come up, throw a switch kick, your knee comes up, and he ate the knee as he was putting his head down. He went into it and he got knocked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would have become a meme Sterling, but then Overeem got knocked into another dimension. So
Oh
that
my god!
Yeah.
that over.
And that
overrode
looked
it.
like such a kung fu shot that Ngannou punched.
Oh,
that it
God.
just was
Yeah,
instantly
but
on
look,
Twitter.
I know the UFC. I think they really wanted Ngannou Francis to win, but you got to be in shape when you fight. You can't
Oh,
just
yeah.
last 3
There
minutes
was
and
2
be dead.
episodes of this podcast where I told the listeners, because I bet a lot on fighting, I told them, if you put your money on Stipe and he loses, I will pay all of your money back. And no one took it. I'm a good bet. The reason we have this expensive podcast equipment is because I bet Rose over Joanna and then parlayed in Dillashaw over Garbrandt that night and won a shit ton of money. I knew Rose was going to win, and I didn't really know, but I had a good guess. So I always
I
thank
thought
Rose
Rose
for
was
the
going to
equipment.
tap her out. I didn't think she was going to knock Joanna out,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
did.
They're fighting again at what?
Well, she looks-
223.
Yeah, they're fighting
Brooklyn.
April 7th.
She looks so scary in the press conference and then in the cage right before the fight when Joanna's like talking shit and kind of bobbing her head around and Rose is like, well, she's singing the Lord's Prayer. Did
Yeah,
you see that?
Because
in
Rose
when
looks like
when
the
they-
nicest person.
she is. She's super nice.
The
So is
way-
Pat Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot there. That's an interesting couple. I remember the second UFC game they ever made, which was there was the second one. Pat Barry you couldn't beat him because all they would do was just throw kicks. It was insane. And then he was out of the league after.
So you and Marlon will be for the #1 contender spot, and then likely the winner of your fight will face the winner of Garbrandt Dillashaw.
Yeah, Carl, because that's what it looks like. It's going that route. So we'll see what happens.
The fans are gonna love that. I mean, a rematch with those two is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he knocked him out good. I mean, so that's always a questionable because he had him hurt the first round, and then TJ came back the second round. And if he had a little more time, people said Cody would have won. You don't know, you don't know who shows up and how the fight goes. It's MMA. Anything could ever,
And that was when Dillashaw got in his face after the fight, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I hope the next one of them does a Yo Romero kiss. I'd never. Was he being a dick or was he being sincere? That guy.
I think Romero.
He's fucking out there.
Yeah,
he seems like it, but
he's a little out there.
Yeah,
Michael Bisping.
He got right in his face and
You
just
think he's
kissed
gonna?
him.
I don't think he beats Whitaker again. I think Whitaker beats him again.
I don't know. Yoel looks like a superhero. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but
Whitaker's-
Yoel cut so much weight that he doesn't have the gas.
Yeah.
The weight cutting to me is one of the craziest things. To see some of these people, what they fucking go through. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Do you struggle with weight cut or no?
No,
No,
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Is it the bigger guys who struggle more?
I think it's I think it's the guys that realize they shouldn't be at that weight class. They should be up one, but they want to cut all that fucking weight anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, in the beginning of the career, I had a hard time, but I didn't know what I was doing. And then I got a good nutritionist. I actually got a couple.
So since the beginning,
As a
you've
guy-
always been fighting as a bantam.
Yeah.
No, my first 2 fights were at 150 because I thought like, oh, I'm a pro. I don't have to cut weight because I didn't cut weight as an amateur.
Yeah.
And then my first fight, I won. The second fight, I lost by split decision. But
That's your
that
last loss, right?
Yeah.
Pro fight.
Crazy.
Well, if you count as Bermudez, but that wasn't, like
that was
that's
on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, that was only a 2-round fight. And again, that was at 145. I'm like, I need to stay at 35. But
So not including that 20-fight win streak.
yeah, so I just learned the hard way. Like I gotta lose weight because he came in at 150, and the next day I looked, I'm like, holy shit, he's like
Yeah.
170. I was like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the fuck? And
Your
then,
your weigh-ins, you never looked too like skinny or emaciated. Like McGregor when he was at 45, when he was fighting featherweight, he looked like a skeleton when he
Yeah.
would weigh in. And
yeah. Well, I don't.
Or
yeah, I
like
don't
when
get
Hendricks
really
has to be
big either.
propped up.
What?
Hendricks has to be propped up. Poor guy.
Yeah. Oh my God, he has to drop down back to 170.
When he weighs in after a weight cut, he looks like a Halloween decoration. It's very scary.
Yeah.
He doesn't look good at 185. The guys are just too big. He's got to go drop down 170 or.
That's a monster division right now too. I mean, the top two guys, Whitaker and Yoel, they're both unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
Whitaker's just so solid. He's almost got that like champion's polish around him, where like every aspect of his game is great. You might be right. He might beat Yoel. I don't know.
I think he will. He's a very smart fighter and he's hard worker. I think he's gonna
and
beat
he's
him.
young too. He's got the gas.
Yeah. I got nothing against Joel. He's just a little weird, but I have nothing. I just think Whitaker's gonna win.
Yeah.
So, for the people who don't know, what was your route to the UFC? I know you fought in Bellator.
Did you do World Series of Fighting too?
I did one fight, World Series of Fighting.
I assume since you're a Jersey guy, there was Ring of Combat as well.
Yeah, I did everything. So I fought in all the leagues I fought in was World Series of Fighting, Bellator, Ring of Combat, the one in West Coast.
The SoCal one?
Yeah.
What is that?
Cage Fighting. No,
Cage Warriors.
No. Why can't I think of it right now?
I know which one you talk about, though. It's the SoCal one.
Oh my God, why am I back? Because I won a belt in there too. I can't. King of the Cage.
King of the Cage.
King of the
yes.
Cage. That's right. King of the Cage and CFFC, which was another East Coast promotion. That's the one that's Cage Fighting Fury Championship or something.
Yeah.
Like that, CFFC. So I did all those leagues, and then the belts I won, it was ROC, King of the Cage, and CFFC. I won, defended them, and then I left to fight someone better or a different promotion. That was it. There was like no hard feelings between the promotion. It was just to fight someone better. Bellator, at one time they were like, "Oh, we don't have room at 135." We're like, all right, no problem. Like, I just keep fighting.
Yeah.
World Series wanted me at one time. I'm like, you're a fighter. You want to be in the UFC. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's where you want to be.
So the
So
goal for everyone is to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
the time between, because like you said, you had lost on the Ultimate Fighter. I think that was when Bisping was coaching, right?
Yeah.
And
Bisping
then,
and Mayhem.
so
won.
how long was the time between then and actually your UFC debut?
I don't remember. Maybe 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So then, I only know baseball, what it's like to get called up when what is it like to, like, do you just get a call that you're in the UFC, or do you have like a good inkling that it's going to happen?
So it was actually pretty cool what happened. It was my birthday. And
No
I was
shit.
teaching class. I was on the mat. And, I got a text from 2 guys, Kurt Pellegrino, who's actually helping my former manager with, management and all that. And I got 2 texts like, oh, do you have a passport? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right, you want to fight in Scotland, Glasgow for the UFC? I'm like, yeah. And it was great because my family came up and surprised me, and my students. So
No
at
shit.
all at the same time, like, oh, well, I got news for you guys. We're going to fight in Glasgow in Scotland
Holy
in
shit.
July in 3 weeks from now.
So like it's
amazing,
literally
man.
like Disney would write that. That's
Yeah.
the perfect fucking thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Everyone's around. It's your birthday.
Yeah,
Holy
I'm going
shit.
to copyright that shit.
Yeah. Oh,
So
dude,
it was
that's gonna be a
awesome, and I
movie.
got in there, and it was hard because
How old are you again at the time?
at that time I was 24, 25, and it was just rough because it was a couple years to get back in UFC. At one point I was like, all right, maybe I'll just focus on my school and stop fighting, but I kept chugging along, and then I finally got the call, and it was well worth it.
Did you ever take a break from fighting, or were you fighting all the way through? Or were
No,
you
I was still fighting 2 or 3 times a year.
And you just considered maybe it's time for me to
Yeah,
go
I
back to
considered a
school?
couple
Because you
times.
also teach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so, how long have you been? You've been.
I've been with Tiger Showman since I was 9.
So have you ever had a job outside of MMA?
I had other, like
Okay.
random jobs, but I've been teaching working at Tiger Showman since I was 13.
No shit. And you
Yep.
still fight out of here.
Yep.
That's awesome. And who else? Shane fights out of here.
Nick
Mhm.
Pace.
We got, I can't. There's, I could tell the guys are in here right now because did they release the? I think they did release Ultimate Fighter.
I think they might have released it. Yeah.
Okay, so we got 5 guys in the UFC.
Yeah.
So we got someone's the Ultimate Fighter. We have Shane Burgos, Lyman Good, Julio Arce, who just finally got his first fight, went in there and beat up Ali's personal assistant. So I was super happy about that. Love you, Julio. And myself. So we have 5 total.
Nice.
And we come from a team. Like, what's cool about it is we come from a team. Everybody that's in the UFC right now didn't know shit. Like, we started from nothing. We were beginners in a beginner kickboxing class, and we went from one extreme to another. Some of us, like Shane started as a teenager. Lyman started as like 16, 17. Julio's been doing it since a kid. I was doing it since I was a kid. The other guy has been doing it since he was like 17, 18.
Wow.
So it's like, it's pretty cool to see all these guys. And we never had anything. Like, I only wrestled in high school for 4 years, and that was it. Like, I didn't go to college for wrestling. I didn't wrestle before that. I wasn't like, All-American or a state wrestler or anything like that. So it was, I did well in wrestling, but I did it for fun, and I did it because it was part of MMA too, and I had a great time at it. I really loved it.
So then, what in your head goes that I'm going to be a professional fighter? Because I know comedians are. We have the same thing where I shouldn't think that I'm going to be a comedian. Then you do it, and then so is it the same thing? One day you're just like, this is what I got to do for a living.
Well, I started competing when you're a kid, and you learn how to compete.
Yeah.
And we have a tournament we hold every 6 months called Challenge Champions. It's really just to get students to face their fears and to learn about failure, because right now, especially nowadays, people like don't let kids fail. Like, it's okay for a kid to fail. Help them
need
back
to.
up.
I think
Help them
it's
get back
good.
up and keep trying.
Because
So do you have like a little chip on your shoulder because you kind of came up in this blue collar way where you and Shane and the guys who are here at Tiger Schulman kind of worked your way up from these beginner kickboxing classes, as opposed to being like a silver medalist wrestler or whatever?
Nah, I don't
those-
have a chip on my shoulder at all. It's just like these guys, some of these guys come in, but they don't really know about martial arts. They only know like maybe one aspect. So
Yeah.
you see like Henry Cejudo, like so many people were saying his striking got so much better. You ever watch his last fight? He was striking and wasn't doing as well, and he went back to his wrestling. I'm like, so it's gonna be interesting. I got Demetrius Johnson beating him again in that fight. It's a no-brainer, but it's just something like that. You know what I mean? I don't really have a chip on my shoulder. I really don't care. But we all came from. What's cool is what the biggest thing is that we all came from nothing. We didn't have All-American wrestler or judo. We weren't like Ronda Rousey, who was a Olympian in judo and stuff like
champion,
that.
yeah.
We came from nothing, and then we came up and built
That's so
ourselves.
cool.
And got
I
into
love
UFC.
stuff like that. Though,
So
man.
that was the biggest thing. But going back to what you're saying, I got into competing, and all the kids and stuff and adults. We still do it. And the Challenge Champions. We're on like our 50th, 60th one, and we do it every 6 months. And it's really for kids to go in there and adults to go in there and compete and
Yeah.
get better. So from there, I saw other kids doing like kickboxing fights. So I want to do that. So my first kickboxing fight was like I was 13 or 14. I did a couple other after that. I did some boxing fights, and then when I was 18, that's where I really got in. That's when amateur MMA was coming out. It was perfect timing because you're 18, you can do amateur MMA.
Yeah, and amateur MMA in Jersey is pretty big.
Yeah,
there's a lot of places that do it. So you got right into that.
I got right into that, and I did.
Like 7-0, right?
I did it, and I did kickboxing at the same time. So I did I remember because I went pro at 19. So from 18 to about 19, maybe 19 and a half, I did 11 fights. I did 4-0 in kickboxing, won a belt, and 7-0 in amateur MMA and won a belt. And then I looked at my coach and I was like, all right, can we go pro now?
Yeah,
and
when you're not losing, I'm sure that's when it clicks in your head like, I could do this.
Clearly,
I should jump up a level.
It feels good. Well, the biggest thing that feels good, people don't realize, is like when you get in the cage, like the mentality to be a fighter, getting in the cage. Like there's a lot of things incorporated, but one of the things that feel great is like having your hand raised in front of thousands of people and them cheering.
Oh my God, I can imagine. I attempted to train 2 years ago when I was still somewhat in shape. After I had Tommy John surgery, I joined a fight team in Jersey called the Institute Muay Thai. And I started fighting there, and, like, I hated it so much. I loved it, but then, like, when I started getting into the sparring and I was getting, like, kicked and hit in the face, I was like, well, this is it.
See, you went to the wrong school. Like, people, like, sometimes people come in and we're like, we're not a fight school. Like, you can fight if you ever want to fight, and there's options for you to do, but we're not a fight school.
Yeah, I threw myself right into the fire.
Yeah, we cater
really
to people getting in shape.
Yeah.
You know?
When they started making me hold pads, I had such anxiety attacks about holding pads that I was gonna hurt someone. That's when I dropped out. I was like, I'm gonna break someone's leg or I'm gonna get kicked in the nuts repeatedly because I don't know how to hold a fucking pad.
That's the hardest part.
It petrified me, man. I'd rather hit
after
in
a
the
couple
face.
classes, you get the hang of it because it's like
no one taught me how to do it. They just threw me a pad and said, hold this. I was like, what do you mean hold this?
So you went to the wrong school.
You were talking about the kids and like how kids need to learn failure though. But you came up as an amateur, 7-0 and a belt in MMA, and then 4-0 and a belt in kickboxing. Well, and you only have one loss as a pro. What was that loss like?
He's politely saying, "You don't know failure."
No,
I know failure. When I first started
you
competing,
haven't had much though.
I had a lot. When I first started competing in the Challenge Champions, there were a lot. I lost a lot. Yeah, and there was a lot of third, second places. And
also, you're from Jersey. Everyone from Jersey, we all have this idea that we know failure because we're from Jersey. It's like Jersey's got a mentality of people who are from here.
You know what? I think that I know what that feeling is, like the Ultimate Fighter, and then that one loss I have on my record. And you just don't want to feel like that ever again. So you go in there, but you can never say anything because, there's been times like people have gone in there, or like even my teammate Shane, his last fight, he went in there trying to get a knockout. And he got rocked and he got beat, and it happens. You can't get upset about that. It does happen.
Still got that fight the night bonus, which probably feels nice.
It helped with a little.
What is it, 50,000?
Yeah,
it's not bad to go home even with a loss of 50K.
He felt a little bit better.
Yeah,
not as much better, but that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? I have had failure in my life with different things, but you learn how to bounce back and get back up and try again, or fix whatever you have to fix.
Yeah, and just hating that feeling of failure so much.
It sucks. More yeah,
That's the interesting thing because in fighting, it's such a you go long spurts between a fight, so you could fail like that after a time. Whereas in comedy, we could fail 5 times in one night, and then we get to bounce back the next day. But like the turnover time for fights is always what blows my mind because there are guys who fight right away. I mean, Cerrone was known for it. Then you got Calvin, the guy, he beat Shane, right? Calvin is who beat Shane, or no? Who did Calvin beat? Someone. Did Calvin beat Jordan? No, Calvin beat Jordan. Catter, right? Calvin.
What class were we on?
I think he fight Jared Gordon. I got Shane and Jared confused. Yeah, that guy's fighting again already this weekend, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
People turn over quickly.
Some people turn over quickly. But you got to see, look at the people that turn over quickly and how far they went. Yeah. You just know their name because they fight a lot. But have they done a lot?
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking
like
the time
Cerrone,
off.
I love Cerrone. His mentality is definitely a great mentality. He's a badass. He wants to fight all the time, but you got to pick the right fights. This is your career. This is your livelihood. And I don't think it's a livelihood. You don't make as much money to support yourself. Yeah. So some people might need to fight quickly because of that. You know what I mean? Because this is their only income. But
if I was Cerrone, I get nervous that my grandma's sitting cage side and then kisses what's his name after. She got so much. Did you see what I tweeted that she got so much airtime that the UFC is going to start making her wear a Reebok jumpsuit?
You only like to fight like 2 or 3 times a year, right?
Yeah, 3. Well, yeah, 3 is the max, really. Because you start doing any more than that, I don't know if your body can hold up, especially as you get older.
So what is like? A lot of people don't know, what does the camp entail? Like, how long is the camp? I know you're always training. Like, when you book the fight to the fight, what is that camp process?
The camp's
like?
always 2 to 3 months. It all
2 to 3
depends where it is. When we find out about it, when they book it, always training. And then when you find out about a fight, the last 2 months, you know, for myself at least, I really pick it up.
Yeah.
And and get ready for it. But the camp always, road work, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, grappling, MMA grappling with strikes, doing MMA rounds. It incorporates everything.
Is there a time where it gets close to the fight where you tone down the intensity a little bit to prevent injury?
Sure. The week, my last hard day is like that Friday before the fight.
And you go to the dentist to make sure you don't get a toothache.
Yeah.
Do you like to spar a lot in camp or no? Because Cerrone says he doesn't spar at all.
No, I spar in camp.
Yeah.
I spar probably about twice a week.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you think that helps you to spar?
Got it. Yeah. I
good
for
amount.
me at least, yeah, for time and stuff. I don't. Cerrone said he doesn't like it. But he drills. I think he has to have to drill. I like it. I like to spar. So I do at least twice a week.
That's great. And you've always kind of done that, or did you pick it up more?
Not only when I have a fight twice a week. When I don't have a fight, once a week, if that. Sometimes not at all. Just drill and work.
Totally. Have you ever had like anything crazy happen in sparring? Like we saw that Cody and Dillashaw video came out. Is there anything like that? Like crazy moments in sparring?
There's been times you rock someone or you get rocked, or I get rocked or I rock someone. Nothing crazy. I think the worst thing that happened to me, fucking Shane. He pulled my head down, need me in the nose, I had to get fucking stitches.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you
But I think
pissed?
it was I was like, what the fuck?
I'm going to bring that up to him when he comes on here in a few weeks.
Yeah, but I think, no, there's nothing really crazy. I mean, you rock someone, and there's been times like I rock someone, and I'm like, oh, I stop 1 second, and like, you okay? Like today, I got a good uppercut. Someone got a good punch, and they're like, oh, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I got a hit. It's all good. Keep going. I'm like, it's part of this fucking sport. But it happens back and forth. You roll with it, and you just keep going. I mean, if someone gets really hurt, then we're like, all right, we stop, and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Take a week or 2 off, and then get back into sparring.
Do you spar with like the same guy or two, or do you like to spar with different people if you're working on different stuff?
We try to keep it to the same guy. It all depends on who I'm fighting, and try to, resemble someone.
Yeah.
It all depends, but it's usually different guys here and there.
So post-win, what do you do that night? Because my buddy, Felipe Nova is a buddy of mine, so I used to go out with him after his fight. What is like your ideal night after you win? You go out partying,
Just
you
have
go back
a
to the
drink
room.
or 2 and get some food and
Felipe
relax.
had like his beer that he loved, so he'd get a 6-pack of that. He'd drink that beer like his own fucking beer.
Yeah, mine. No, I just maybe get a drink or 2 because I haven't drank in forever with my friends and get some food and just honestly now just
some
relax.
more relaxing.
When I was younger, I used to go party like time to go to the club and get fucked up. Now I'm like, I'm relaxed. I'm like I'm good.
Because
it all depends.
Adrenaline must be insane after a win.
Well, it all depends on too how your body is. Like after the Faber fight, my eye was hurting so bad. I just went right to my bed and they actually gave me. I never take any painkillers or anything like just Advil and stuff. I took a Percocet.
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything. And I just shut my eyes. I'm like, just go to sleep. I slept like 3 hours.
Next time they offer it to you, just send it my way. Because I assume coming up you were also a fan of MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so what is there any feeling of that? Like when you're in the octagon with Faber, who is like a legend of the sport.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Like when they're calling your name and you look across and the fucking California kid is there.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like he was throwing like as the fight's going on. I'm like. I told myself I wouldn't get starstruck, but as the fight's going on, I'm like, oh, he's throwing shit. He can't hit me. I'm like, oh, this is great. You know what I mean?
So you got starstruck about yourself.
I got starstruck with him, and then I'm like, he's throwing stuff. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, I can't believe I'm fighting Faber right now.
Yeah.
Because he was like one of the
awesome.
beloved men of the UFC.
Yeah. And then
He's
he
a legend.
lost to me, and then decided to retire.
Yeah.
That was pretty
He
much
had one more fight after, right? And then they did the whole big send-off.
He wanted to go off on a win, obviously.
Yeah. He got people were making fun of him because he was in the ring with what's his name in the last fight, Northcutt, and he looked a little chubby Faber, and people weren't letting him down. I was like, the dude just stopped fighting for a living.
Yeah.
Let him get a little fat if he wants.
He's always doing a whole bunch of stuff I see all the time, but
with Alpha Male and
it was
my favorite part of that fight was Sage Northcutt in the interview kept calling him Mr. Faber. That kid throws me off, fucking Northcutt. He called Mr.
He
Faber.
only won that fight because he was in better shape than the other guy. The other guy was better, but he just won the
The
fight.
last fight?
Yeah, but
It was the Texas home cooking. But also, I mean, the guy, I forgot who he even fought. It was just, he wasn't doing it. He could have beat him. I mean, he had him down and just didn't follow through with it.
Yeah, he didn't have the cardio.
He was getting the ground position, but he was just keeping it there. He wasn't moving. That was actually a good card, though. That was in Austin.
Yeah, it was actually a really good card for a fight night. Really good card.
Is Cruz a guy you've always wanted to fight too? Because he pulled out at 219. But
yeah, if I have that, I don't know if I'm ever gonna fight him now. I mean, who knows what's up with his career, because he's got such a unique style that messes him up, screws up his body. You know what I mean? Tears his knees and stuff like that. Your body's not supposed to move that much, but you know, like I said, he's got a unique style. No one's ever figured it out, and I was super excited to go in there and show how to do it. I mean, Cody kind of figured it out. I mean, Cruz doesn't really. He's just good at mixing it up to get takedowns. Besides that, he can't punch.
Yeah, he looks so unique in there.
Yeah,
I remember when they were
power behind those punches.
he swings. He's not really. You watch his fight.
Yeah.
You watch. I saw the TJ and Cruz fight, and when I was there, I thought TJ won, but then when you rewatch the fight, you realize he didn't. Cruz, the takedowns were big in that fight, and Cruz landed a little bit more than he did, even though they were like swinging for the fences punches, but he landed a little bit more, and Cruz had TJ missing a lot.
Yeah.
So you rewatch it again, you look, and it wasn't. I mean, you could say it was close maybe, but it really ended up Cruz won because he landed a little bit more and got the takedowns.
Yeah.
So you do watch fights when you're of your opponents, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who are doing them, people who don't. They don't like watching their own profession, so you are also a fan, like you said, outside of it.
Yeah, fan. But then you also have to watch, especially if you're gonna fight someone. You have to know what to do and stuff. I mean,
Exactly.
people don't watch. I think it's just stupid. I'm like, you gotta watch. You gotta know. You know what I mean? You said you pitched, right?
Yeah.
You're a pitcher. You know these guys coming up. You gotta what their sweet spot is, what they like to hit. You know what I mean? You have to.
It throws me off, though, because now I'm in a profession where a lot of comics don't like watching other comedians because subconsciously sometimes you'll do someone else's bit. With that being said, I watch a lot of stand-up.
You gotta watch it too. It's the same in comedy. You have to watch them.
I like to watch it just to know I don't like other people. I like to think I'm better.
I mean, bantamweight's crazy right now, and between Cruz, Dillashaw, Cody, there's a lot of like trash talking and all that. Does that kind of get you more into a fight if it's heated on the road to the fight, or does it really not have a difference to you?
See, I don't really trash talk. That's why sometimes I don't know if the UFC likes me that much. I don't go in there and say all this stuff. I just say what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like when my wife said, you said all that stuff about World Series, about Marlon, you know what I mean? But no one knows who the fuck World Series is. They have a new name. I don't even know what the new name of it is.
Yeah.
Professional fight league. I think.
There you go.
They
See,
changed it.
yeah. Who's the champ at 155?
I think they rebranded the entire league, and it's not starting again until June.
Oh, so there's no champs at all.
Yeah, now it's going to be like a season where it starts in June, and then October they have the finals. They rebranded it all, which was weird because they actually had a very solid event on TV when they did the Madison Square Garden one, which was like 5 champions. That's what Branch fought. Marlon fought in that one. Gaethje fought in that one. I believe.
See, it's not even around World Series anymore, though.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, a lot of the guys just.
But so like, she was like, "Oh, if someone asks you, about it," I'm just gonna be like, "Well, yeah, I meant everything I said. No one like this. It's not a big league. I mean, the only thing that was competing with the UFC is Bellator, but they're still not as big as UFC.
No,
so it's like, even like when Eddie came in and he had a rough time. He didn't
feel
do
like
so well.
Bellator has become the UFC's retirement league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. I mean, there's still something interesting about watching Roy Nelson fight, but it's also something sad. That Rampage fight where his tits were just like hanging, that was sad to watch. Even his actual tits looked like they were frowning. I can't talk, but they looked like they were frowning.
I didn't even see the fight. Can't tell you.
No.
I just
didn't
watch
see
it
that
to
guy.
tweet about it.
You more just like speak your mind though. You're not trying to do too much like rah showmanship leading up to a fight.
No, I just speak my mind. That's it. And I believe what I say.
There is a question that I think the people want to know is that in the 219, there was a lot of talk about your honeymoon. How was the honeymoon?
Oh, the honeymoon was fucking great. You know what?
Where'd you guys go?
We went to Costa Rica.
Oh shit.
And everybody's telling me I got back. Even like one of the instructors, he's like, "Man, you feel a lot better." I'm like, "Yeah, I got to relax finally."
Yeah.
Someone's like, "Did you train?" I'm like, "No."
No.
No. Finally take a whole week off, relax, had a great time with my wife. We did, and it's cool because I'm not one to sit down and relax. Can't do anything. So when we went there, though, we did a lot. Like, we went surfing, zip lining, horseback riding. We took an ATV tour that we thought it was some waterfalls, but it was cliff jumping.
Oh,
That's
God.
So we
crazy,
jumped
man.
in, yeah. So the first cliff was like 10, 15 feet, and the second one was 40 feet. So the guy's like, "You gonna do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you jump first, though." I'm like, so I know where to go. I'm like, "All right." So we jumped over there. I gotta make sure I jump over there. Then my wife was like, going in, coming out, go. She's like, she don't know. I'm like, sorry. I'm like, "Come on, don't be a sissy. Jump." And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, "Man, if she just steps off and doesn't jump, she's gonna hit rocks. Don't do it. Don't do it." Don't do it. And then all of a sudden, I turn back, and she's halfway down. I'm like, "Oh shit."
Oh,
Just
God.
leaped off.
And you feel it too, so you gotta jump and land like a pencil. And she
Yeah.
landed on her butt a little bit. Her butt so hurt her. She like bruised her tailbone from it.
Yeah.
This is such
So-
an adventurous honeymoon.
Yeah,
That's
we
great.
did that.
I already know I can't go to Costa Rica because zip lining has a weight limit, horseback riding has a weight limit. I'm fucked for all the. I'll be like, "I'll watch you, honey. You go zip line." Yeah.
What else? Yeah, we did stand up paddleboarding. Went to the beach.
That's
That's
great.
pretty much
man.
it. It was fun though, and it was beautiful. Like it's like from a movie. Like our view of watching when we're eating breakfast every morning to like walk into our villa, and it was great. It was a great vacation. We had a great time. It was nice. We had a little trouble getting home, and it's my fault. I'll put it on me.
You booked the wrong flight? What was going on?
No, our flight was delayed from where we were, Tambor, to San Jose.
Yeah.
And then from San Jose, we had a layover in Panama and then home. So that was delayed an hour. So we got there. Our flight's supposed to be in 45 minutes, but just the fact that we got there not an hour before and I didn't check in online,
Yeah.
we couldn't go to our flight. So we had to wait 12 hours at the airport. So we were there at 4:30 or something, or 4 o'clock, and the flight was taking off at 4:45. And we had to wait from there all the way to 7 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we took a
fuck.
direct flight home, which was a little bit better because it was direct,
Yeah.
but it just sucked.
Flying's the worst. I'm nervous 'cause I'm flying to Vancouver next week for shows, and I tweet a lot about the Unabomber, mostly as a joke, but I'm fascinated with his manifesto, so I think I'm finally on the no-fly list. So I'm gonna find out next Thursday what's going on, but I'm a little bit nervous about that. So, is your wife super into the fighting as well? Because I feel like it's a weird profession to.
Yeah,
For
she's
a wife.
I known her since I was a kid, and her dad owns the school in Allentown, Tire Shulman, so she's a black
No
belt
shit.
too. And yeah,
Oh,
I've
really?
known her for a long time. Yeah.
Does she fight or no?
Does she fight? So it was me.
Yes. Yeah.
She's actually outside right now working. She's a medical writer.
Oh,
she's
is
very smart. Yeah.
Has
She's
she
out
ever-
here.
Yeah, she's out there.
Oh,
Has she
because
ever
she
considered
tweeted at
fighting?
us that
Yeah.
she wanted me to ask you what your spy code name would be.
Yeah, I don't know. She got into this thing because we were.
I hope that was her
We
tweeting,
were
not a
watching
weird fan
what
of
movie
yours.
were we watch? I forgot. We were watching something. So literally every night they're like, "Oh, what'd you do at nighttime?" Like we got dinner and I was in my room by 9. We relaxed and I slept a lot. Like it was great. And she was like, "No, we had a. What was your spy name be?" I'm like, "I don't know," but I was like, and then I went like, I don't know. But then we had a code. We're like, all right, well, you gotta have a code just in case if you're a spy now. Like all of a sudden you got recruited from the government. I'm like, I'm Batman. if we need to get the fuck out of here, I'm like, we're going to my lair. So there's like a little. Oh man, I can't remember what movie we were watching.
Yeah.
One of the movies we did watch.
Undercover Brother.
Was
That's one of my favorite movies.
one of the movies we watched. You ever see The Do-Over on Netflix?
Yeah.
With Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
So that came
Oh,
out
shit,
before
yeah.
Central Intelligence. So we're sitting there, and my wife looks at me and she's like, Central Intelligence copied this. Had to. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, they just flipped around the roles. You know what I mean? They had, first they had 2 black guys instead of 2 white guys, if you think about it. And then you had Adam Sandler pretending to be an FBI agent, but he really isn't, and he needs a cure or whatever. And then you had Dwayne Johnson pretending just to be like, hey, just hanging out, being
When he's
friends.
actually an
Yeah.
FBI
And
agent.
he's actually an FBI agent. Then you got David Spade, who's really good with numbers, and you got Kevin Hart, who's
I forgot
really good with
Kev was in
numbers.
that.
Yeah.
So you're like, you need the sissy dweeb guy, which they both were, to help them save the world.
Yeah.
I
That's
love
crazy.
Kevin, but
They
David
just flipped
Spade
it
is the quintessential sissy dweeb guy.
over. Yeah.
He was way
Spade
better.
is an
Kevin's a
interesting.
little too jacked to be the sissy dude.
Yeah.
guy.
I've met Spade a few times, and he's an older dude, but he still dresses like he's a teenager in L.A. Skinny jeans, weird fucking hat on. He's got the creepiest mustache in the world. Because I heard a story because Amy Schumer got married 2 weekends ago, and I heard that Spade was just hitting on every single girl at the wedding and like almost closed the deal with like multiple people, which good for him because he's not the
great.
most attractive person.
No.
But yeah, poor Spade now lost all his roles to Kevin Hart, who is in absolutely. I think Kevin was in Jumanji as well.
Yeah, but
he
you know
was.
what? I
Kevin's
didn't.
got everything. Man.
But Kevin wasn't as good as Jack Black in Jumanji. Did you see Jumanji?
I
didn't see it.
No.
Oh my
Jack Black
God.
killed it.
Well, Jack Black killed it because he played a woman, like a teenage girl, and he was really good at it. It was so funny. Like, he was way funnier than Kevin Hart.
Jack
in the
Black's
movie.
underrated. I mean, him and Tropic Thunder?
Tropic Thunder, yeah.
Holy shit.
That
him
was
and that.
funny.
I mean, that movie as a whole would not. It wouldn't fly now with what's
Yeah.
his name playing doing blackface the whole movie.
No, Robert Downey
Never go
Jr.
full
Yeah,
retard.
yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines in any movie.
Kev just delivers on everything he does, though, man. Because he's at whatever part he's in, he does well.
The funniest thing about Kevin is because there's a club in the city called the Comedy Cellar that I sometimes work, and Kevin works it too. And Kevin's one of these guys who has like a full posse. It's about, I would say, 15 people, and then there's 14 black dudes, but then the biggest guy in the posse is just a jacked Asian guy, and he's just a photographer. So he has 14 black dudes and then just one Asian photographer, and that's Kevin's posse. Almost, it's probably the second best posse to Dave Chappelle. Chappelle, it's the best posse because it looks like they're just hovering around a fire because Chappelle always has smoke coming from above him.
Yeah.
That dude smokes indoors. No one else does it but him. I saw someone tell him not to do it, and he goes, "I'm Dave Chappelle." How do you answer that?
That was like so. I mean, I love all music, but as I got older, I'm like last 4 years, been really in the country.
Oh,
and the first country singer I ever saw was Brantley Gilbert, and I love his music because he's got a cross of like AC/DC, Metallica, and I grew up liking AC/DC, Metallica, and went to go see him, and actually, good friends with him, good friends. We talk here and there, and went to see him. So I'm by the stage, and because I went in the back, we hung out, and then I'm by the stage. But you just see Aaron Lewis just lighting up weed and just smoking, and he's in the back smoking. And we were talking about it. He's like, "Yeah, Lewis just doesn't care. He just smokes wherever he wants to smoke." And I'm like, "That's all good." I mean, you're Aaron Lewis. I'm like, "Go ahead."
He's got a little Diaz in him.
I had a buddy who had one of the vape pens. He used to just smoke it everywhere. On the bus, we'd be like taking it. We lived together in Boston. We'd taking the bus. He'd be smoking it. We'd be in like the grocery store. He'd be smoking it like at a coffee shop.
I just don't get how they function. You know what I mean? And
They're
I had a friend
deadly.
What?
They're deadly. I greened out from it.
Yeah.
I almost called 911 on myself. It got so bad. I ate like a 50 milligram edible, or it might have been 100, and then I did a bunch of the weed pen. And I was laying in bed. I had 911 dialed. I was like, "This is it. I'm calling the cops on myself."
What's the matter?
Yeah.
I'm really hungry. I can't move.
I couldn't move. That was the thing. I went into the bathroom to try to throw water on my face, and I hissed at myself for 7 minutes straight, like a goddamn snake on Adderall, just hissing at myself.
The cops like, "What's wrong?" You're like, "I don't know if my parents like me."
The best part was, instead, I was like, go on Google. So I Googled greening out. And I talk about this on stage now, but there's a little box that pops up in Google that says, "I know it might be scary, but no one's ever died from too much weed." Whoever did that at Google is the fucking man.
Yeah.
Because that saved me from calling the cops on myself.
So you watch the stand. You ever see Cat Williams when he talks about weed?
Oh, my God, yeah.
He's like, he just passed out.
Yeah.
He ain't dead. He's going to wake up in 30 minutes and eat everything in your kitchen.
He has a joke about dispensaries where he's like,
if you
"My high got high in this motherfucker."
He goes, "If you got a job, make your paper, boo-boo. If you don't got a job and you're not smoking, I don't know what you're doing with your fucking life."
Do you think Cat trains MMA now after he got choked out by an 8th grader?
Do you really?
Yeah.
He got beat up by an 8th grader. It was bad.
How?
And the best part was, after he gets choked out, he comes through and he goes,
Tiny, man.
Cat goes, "You guys don't know how to treat a celebrity around these parts."
Yeah. He's
After
like yelling at a group of like 8th graders. It's like a 13-year-old kid yoked him up.
He did. I hope he got into the gym after that and trained. He hasn't done. I mean, he released a special, but I don't know if you saw, Netflix released the 25th anniversary of Def Jam, and like people were coming up and saying stuff, and he comes out and he goes, "I know a lot of you think I try to find controversy, but it waits in the bushes and pops out when a motherfucker doesn't expect it." So he knows the life he lives.
Oh, man.
So are you a comedy fan at all?
Yeah, I do like comedy.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite comedians or comedian?
I do like John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
I like
Mr.
Kevin Hart.
One-Man
I like,
show.
you know what? I don't really discriminate. I like everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's cool to hear the storytelling like that Kevin Hart does and
Totally.
Leguizamo does and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Aziz is funny.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to his career.
What?
He got taken down
He did?
in the whole Me Too movement. He's the latest victim.
Yeah, you got a little scandal. You like Chappelle?
Yeah. Chappelle's. I kind of like everything. You know what I mean? I go in there.
I find it very interesting that MMA and comedy, it gels so well. A lot of my fans on the road are MMA fans. The two gel very well. And there's a lot of comics like me, Louis J. Gomez, Ari Shafir. Then you got Adam Hunter in L.A. who runs MMA Roasted.
Yeah, and I just that was
Rogan.
actually-
Obviously, Rogan's the biggest
My
one.
last show was Adam Hunter. Actually, I went to. I seen. He was like, hey, come out. You know, I know you're not doing anything, you're not fighting anymore. You know, and it was great to get my mind off it because I was so pissed.
I love Adam so much. He's
So
such a good dude.
Adam was funny, man, and he's just straight up like.
He's a one-liner guy.
And
He's going into the crowd.
Well, just like everything, racist, this and that. Like it was funny though. Like you can't. Like he's making fun of the crowd. He even made fun of me, and I'm like laughing about it. I'm like, you can't fucking get upset. It's a fucking comedy show. Like he's gonna make fun of people. He's gonna say stuff that's probably inappropriate. Don't go then. You know what I mean? Yeah. He had like I forgot, he said like some Muslim joke, and these guys afterwards were like they wanted to kill him. And like he was like, all right, he left right away, got out of there. I'm like, dude, it's like you tell people it's a comedy show.
Where'd you see him, in Vegas?
Yeah.
Well, things are a little.
Factory, probably, something like
I
that.
don't remember where it was. Yeah, but
well,
it was
things
in
are a little
Vegas.
heated now. I mean, I deal with it every day on Twitter of people just giving me the. I was up till 2:30 last night going at a troll. My friends call me the troll whisperer though, because some of my biggest fans are trolls that I converted into fans. Because sometimes these people just need to be talked to. But some of the things, I had someone post my address recently. I had someone tell me, fuck your family. And then they tweeted my parents' names. I was like, how are they getting this information? It gets scary, man. Some people get offended so quickly now.
No, they do. And then, I mean.
I've seen an MMA where a guy says something off color in his post-fight interview. Then, like, they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. I was like, the adrenaline. I mean, he could say what the fuck he wants.
Yeah. It's America.
Yeah, I know.
And it's
right?
also not
that's
like
that's the thing. I remember I had an argument with someone. I forgot. He was saying it was something. I'm like, this is America. I'm like, I have freedom of speech. I say where the fuck I want on Twitter if I want to say something. I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't know, get my address out, but you're coming. I'm like, I'm locked and loaded. We're ready. So go ahead. You can fucking break down that door. And what sucks, and so in PA you have a castle law. Yeah. So my wife had her concealed carry in PA, not here, obviously, because it's Jersey.
Yep.
So in PA you have the castle law where you could, you know, I didn't know this, and thank God I know it now that I have guns and stuff at home. You kill anybody on your land. That's it. You defend your own land. But in Jersey, if I'm downstairs my first floor, since I have a back door, I have to leave my house. I can't shoot that guy. Yeah. You have to be in a room where there's no exit. So I'm like, don't worry, babe. We're going to drag that fucking body upstairs, and we're going to be like, yeah, we shot him. We're in our bedroom. There was no exit.
Or you're like trying to convince me, come to the spare room, man.
I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs. I'm all by myself.
You're in the attic ringing a bell.
Watch this guy walk in the room. Watch him.
Next thing you know, Jimmy's going to get work on his house and get the exit put on the second floor. Just so the first floor has no exit anymore.
Yeah, no, yes. Yeah. No, if there's a back door, I'm going to get rid of those back doors. Fuck this. How do you get to the back? Go through the front.
Just wait there for him.
God. Yeah, you know what? I'm straightforward. Sometimes my wife's like, you know what I like about you? I'm like, what is it, babe? And she's like, you're just straight honest. You know, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna beat around the bush and say, hey, yeah, man, it looks like you lost weight. Nah, you're fat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or like, I said that to Brantley. Oh my God. I was so embarrassed. Yeah, I was just like, because he just had a kid. I'm like, hey man, you show me videos. It's great. It's like he brought up have the dad. I don't know if I have gained a little dad bod going on. I'm like, yeah, you gained a little bit of weight. And Sam's looking at me, she's like, what are you saying? I'm like, I'm just being honest.
Why are you gonna hide it?
I was just like,
not enough people just say what's on their mind anymore. I think people did it. People would appreciate it more.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So that's probably like.
I'm very straightforward. I'm just like.
Whenever someone probably thinks you're talking trash, you're probably just saying whatever's like you're honestly thinking. It's
No,
like
just
you're,
even my
like,
honest opinion. That's it.
Yeah.
My honest opinion. My coach is funny. She's like, you think everybody sucks? I'm like, no, I think people are tough, but I don't think they're that good. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's my opinion. Some people are else, others, but other ways and this and that. I'm just like, nah. And then
mindset though too, you got to be able to think that you can beat them all.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then like who was telling me something? I think Julio was telling me this, and someone else. Or Giuliano, one of my teammates, and was saying like recently, I guess TJ Dillashaw was sparring someone, and the bell rang, and like 5 seconds after the bell, like he freaking rocked the guy and dropped him.
Oh
like,
God!
After the bell was done, and I was like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I go to I'm like, am I that bad? He's like, no, you're not that bad. Because if I don't do well in a round, I'm like, all right, we're going again.
Yeah.
And they know I'm gonna try to take their head off. But I'm going to be like, oh, we're going to get it. But I'm not going to, like, hit someone after the bell or do,
Yeah.
I took down some boxers before. They get a little smart ass with me if, they're talking shit. I fucking take him down, double leg him into the canvas.
I love the shit talking that. I mean, it's what I love the shit talking of fighting, because in our business, if you shit talk, comedians are the most fragile people in the world. So you actually shit talk them, and then most people just go into their shell and they can't handle it.
Oh, yeah.
I wish people could shit talk more. It makes the world go round.
Yeah. I mean, I laugh at it. I think it's funny. And then whatever people say, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, it doesn't. I think if it bothers you, that's why when people feed in. And, like, people that fought Conor, like, it feeds into them. Like,
totally.
He's selling the fight. Why? Let him shit talk more. I want to make more money.
When he was poking guys like Mendez and, like, Alvarez, like, there are people, and Poirier, and they're all
he
great
had
fighters.
Fuck the Mayweather's trending.
Yeah.
What am I, Fuck the Mayweather?
Mayweather kind of seemed, like, ready for all that shit, though, because Mayweather's a huge shit talker, and he's been in the business for forever.
He just knew it was going to sell his fight. He was fine with it because it was going to sell the fight, and that's what they did. But Connor's a smart guy. He doesn't just go in there and just shit talk. He studies. He gets ready. He gets a lot of shit prepared.
Yeah,
he's been on a long study break right now, then. Cause
yeah, right.
He came out yesterday saying that he told the UFC he'd fight Frankie.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I mean, obviously, I feel like a lot of times fighters say that, and then it comes out that they actually didn't.
Well, I think that's where sometimes
that's a dangerous
I get
fight
a little
for
judged because I just tell him what happened. I'm like, yeah, I landed in UFC tonight. I landed in Vegas, and they gave me two options. Like, other guys wanted to fight me. I'm like, I can't fight you.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what the UFC said. I could only fight Marlon or Dotson. I'm like, I'm not fighting Dotson. He's not going to help me. I'll fight Marlon. And I'm like, I'll fight him at 135. They're like, no, it's got to be 140. I'm like, all right, 138 then. Got to be 140. 140. They're like, no, 145. I'm like, all right, 145. So I called his bluff. I knew he wasn't going to fight.
Yeah.
Because by the time when he said 145, I'm like, this guy ain't going to fight.
Yeah.
But when I landed, it said you could fight him at 140 or fight him January 20th. So I said, all right, I'll fight him January 20th then. And he said, no. I'm like, all right. And they were keep pushing the fight. I'm like, listen, man. I'm like, you guys are trying to put fights behind my back and you're making him sign an agreement and try to make him look good. Like, look, I signed an agreement for February. Yeah, I'm going on my honeymoon, bitch. I ain't going to be there. I'm like, you guys don't talk to me. I'm like, it's not about Marlon time. It's about my time.
Yeah.
I was like, so I got back.
Like a cliff jumping and shit.
Yeah, I'm like, I went on my honeymoon, and that's when I got back. Man, Lloyd, my manager, I'm like, call the UFC. Let's see what we're doing. Like, you can only fight Marlon. I'm like, they're offering me in a main event. I'm like, I got to sit there and think about it. I'm like, I'm looking at it and judging it. I'm like, this is going to end up being, because then all of a sudden you see Cody and TJ, they're trying to push that fight. I'm like, all right, so this is going to be a number one contender fight. All right, we'll do it. And the main event is perfect.
And also, you're like, I get a free vacation at Utica, so.
No, I like it because, you know what? I like it because, you know, one of the things I asked for when negotiating was more tickets for this fight because my family comes with me.
Yeah.
And to pay for my family to come out and fly out to Vegas and stuff. I'm like, I lost a lot of money, and I didn't get paid for my last fight. I didn't get anything. You know what I mean?
Do they still charge your family, or they give them free tickets?
I get 4 free tickets.
Yeah, it is.
Family.
I remember when I used to go to Felipe's fights, he would only get like a few free ones than everyone, but the prices are still good for the friends and family.
Yeah, they do have like a family, but you still have to pay. I'm just happy this one's driving distance. It works out better.
I think I might actually go to Utica. I'm trying to get a press pass for it.
Good, get one. I hope you get one.
Yeah.
Come hang out afterwards.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
We'll have, you don't party that much after, but we'll have a small party.
We'll give you a couple beers.
Yeah.
A couple of those breaking back.
No videos.
No. Oh, that's the worst thing, that how quickly people pull out their video cameras now.
Oh, my God. I'm like.
Everything you do is on video now.
Yeah.
You gotta have, you know what, you gotta go to a party and you gotta just, you know what would be funny is like having a party and be like, yep, put your phone in the box.
Yeah.
Oh, like when Chappelle does shows, he has the Ziploc bag for phones. They should do that at parties.
Yeah.
I might do something stupid tonight. Zip up your phone so no one can fucking see it.
Well, you know what's so funny, but not even doing that. Like, people can't function without their phone. No. Like, I have a tendency. We've been sitting here for about an hour almost, and I go here and I grab my phone, and I'm not even checking my time to see when to leave. I have that tendency to touch my phone, look at the time, press it. Touch my phone, press it, see what's going on.
It's weird, man.
But then I also go, I'm like, I got like 30 text messages already. I gotta go deal with that.
It's concerning because I've been a month off. I was a big smoker, and I've quit for a month now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And how quickly I go to my thing, and I realize that people have the same thing with their phone, which is because smoking's a crazy addiction. It's been the worst month of my life, but I'm going for something deadly, but people are going for their phones the same way they go for cigarettes.
Yeah.
And also, it ruins it because, like, growing up in high school, like, you used to hear stories of the kids who came before you, like some, like, folklore story of who did this at a party. Now it's all on camera, so you can't make up stories anymore.
You can't.
Like, oh, this kid drank 13 beers. Let me see. You drank 4.5. Yeah. Like, everything is on the record now, which isn't good. You want some folklore.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have you have someone you think is going to win in that Dillashaw Garbrandt fight, or?
I don't know. I think he could go either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guess I might lean a little bit more towards Dillashaw just because what happened to Cody. You don't know how his mindset's going to be.
Yeah.
He's a little fragile, I think, mentally.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the Jean-Claude Van Damme kick?
Yeah.
He's a fucking pussy, Cody.
Dude, he was so angry, dude.
He was. It
freaking
skinned
the
your
fuck
fucking.
Yeah.
out.
Oh, he came 2 hours late. This and that. I'm like, this guy. Like, Jean-Claude Van Damme's a star. He probably don't give a fuck at all. Like,
The UFC has this tendency, and I love the UFC, but they seem to want to push guys to be the star.
they want to push the wrong guys.
Yeah,
all
they
the
wanted
time.
to
They want
push.
to push the good-looking people. You could
They're
tell.
like,
Yeah.
my manager and I talk about it, and we even sometimes talk about Ariel. I'm like, you got a guy like myself that wants to fight for the belt and then fight 3 or 4 times a year. Like, no argument, wants to fight and defend the belt. Why not push him?
Exactly.
But I let it be. I'm like,
But then
it is what it
Nagano
is.
has one big knockout, and he gets pushed as hard as possible right up to Stipe.
Yeah.
That's
and then
true.
loses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved it. I mean, he is going to be good, Nagano. He just needs more time. He's just still green at
Do
the
you
sport.
do you like what do you find a lot of guys lose because their cardio is lacking like that? Because his cardio is just not good enough
Yeah,
to keep up.
I mean,
People also underestimate experience. I mean,
experience
Stipe-
is key and cardio is key, and
Yeah.
you got to have. It's hard to have experience. You got to give it time. Cardio is very key. So like the Snorri Cup fight, he didn't have experience, but he had the cardio, so he was able to push the fight and win.
Totally.
That comes up big a lot of times, and then that's it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap up with a few just quick questions.
Sure.
Fastest knockout you've ever had. You've recorded.
16 seconds
Where
for
at?
me.
Shit. Yeah.
Oh,
No, that you've done. So 16, you knocked someone out of.
Yeah, 16 seconds for me. I
Wow,
did.
that's a quick.
Amateur.
No, pro.
That's a
Carson
quick
Beebe.
time for someone to be like, I'm in a fight, and then I'm out of a fight. Just the range of emotions in 16 seconds.
I hit. It didn't even feel like. To be honest with you, I threw a cross hook. Didn't even feel like I touched with the hook. I saw him. I was like, oh, ran around to the side so he wouldn't get me in the guard, and I was like a monkey open up a coconut. And it was done.
Yeah.
It was
So
done.
second punch knocked him out. Well, knocked
I
him out.
don't know which one did it. He just went down hard after that. But that was like my last fight before I got in the UFC.
Yeah.
You have any questions?
I mean, what do you think your toughest fight was other than that second one?
I think every fight's tough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got guys that come in. I fought some guys before I got in the UFC, and these guys just don't go. The worst fights is the guys you hit, and they just keep coming forward like shit.
Yeah.
I hit him with everything in the kitchen. And he's still coming.
Yeah.
Is
Those
the
are
guy
tough
you
fights.
lost your second professional fight to still a fighter?
I don't know if he still fought, but I know he fought a lot of guys that I fought after me,
Yeah.
and he tried to drop down 35 and just didn't do well. He was like 6-6 last time I looked.
I was hoping to look online. I researched his name. I was hoping that he was going to be like a janitor now. I could be like, how did it feel to lose to a janitor? But he's a wrestling coach at a college now.
He's a nice guy, Jay McLean. I've seen him here and there. Said hi to him. Yeah, I don't have anything
I
against
feel like
him.
a lot of fighters
yeah.
do have
There's-
an inherent bond.
There's no one that I don't like dislike except for Marlon's manager. That's
Yeah.
I hate him. But there's no one I really dislike. There's no one I have a grudge against. Like
No.
I remember when I fought Pedro Munoz. Like him and I talked on Instagram chat a couple months back, but I fought him and he got in my face at the weigh-ins, and afterwards, he was trying to, I just want to, excite the fight. This and that. I'm like, man, you don't have to do any of that. We're gonna beat the shit out of you
Yeah.
in the cage tomorrow. Like that, it's gonna be an exciting fight. You don't have to get in my face like that because I want to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like I just want to, take my knife out and stab you. Like don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But,
some of the people who get really intense in the weigh-ins, like when Johnny and DC went at it and broke the stage. I was like, you guys are hitting each other tomorrow.
I know. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
wait a
I mean,
day.
I'm not gonna lie with you guys. I should enjoy this podcast because sometimes you go on, like I go on Ariel and I got to be censored in a way, and I'm like, it's hard, you know what I mean? Because I teach kids, and I'm not saying I'm like saying anything bad or anything. I just like I kind of like to be myself. I don't mind like.
Oh, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
cool
man.
thing about Middle Easy is that they're such
Yeah.
a famous MMA brand, and they don't give two shits about what we say.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah,
new
that's
owner
their
took
thing.
over. It was actually a lady bought it. I bid a lot of money on it, all the money I have, and then she outbid me for the website, which was unfortunate because she doesn't know MMA and I do. I could have done a good thing with it. But she was cool. She let us keep the podcast on, and they're very nice to us. So as always,
great, man.
thanks to Middle Easy.
Thanks for doing it, man.
Yeah,
No,
this
no
was
problem.
this was a pleasure to have you on for our first UFC fighter, and good luck at your fight. You have any social media to plug for the people?
Yeah, you know what? I always like to thank my sponsors. I got a Tiger
Yeah.
Fight Gear that sponsors me, Nutribio supplements, and
My
Eat
friend's a
Clean
model
Bro.
for Nutribio.
Yeah.
He's a bodybuilder. He models for them. I got arrested with him. I sold drugs with him in high school. That was what made him. That turned his life around. I became a comedian. He became a bodybuilder. You know what's that famous guy's name who yells at his muscles? I command you to grow. Oh, CT Fletcher. You know CT? Crazy bodybuilder on YouTube, like millions of views. My friend called him out and went there to train with him, and CT embarrassed him. CT's like 60 years old. He's died like 3 times, and he embarrassed my friend. Well, that was a weird tangent. But yeah, NutriBio. Good for them.
Tiger Fight Gear.
Now they're going to find out who it is. They're going to listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
Oh, his name on Instagram is Ant Gaines. Gains.
You still talk to him?
Yeah. Him and his father,
He's gonna
his
call you
father
and
was
be
the
like, "What the
chief of
fuck?"
police, came to my show one time, and I do a joke about getting arrested with him, and his father afterwards was like just shaking his head. And his father's who got us out of the trouble because his dad was the chief of police. I got caught. I ran an intersection. I ran a red light. I had no license, no registration in my car. I had 4 kids in my car at 17, and I had marijuana that was ready to be sold. It was individually bagged. And I got away with 1 ticket that was blocking an intersection, not even a red light ticket.
So lucky. See, it's not about what you know, it's about who
you know. Yeah.
But you got Twitter, Instagram you want to plug?
Yeah, my Instagram is Jimmie Rivera, and my Twitter is Jimmie Rivera 135. And thanks for having me on the show.
All right, thanks
It's
for
fun
the
bullshitting.
Thanks,
Absolutely,
and
man.
good luck fighting the squeaky voice guy.
Absolutely.
See you guys later.
See ya.